find out what you think the relationship is right now and their lecturers in particular. Now, about a week or two ago, I got to see a video that reminded me so much of my stay in university. Now, some of you obviously have probably seen that video. A female lecturer who was receiving, test scripts or some assignment or something, and then one student, brings it in, and then, in front of the person, this lecturer destroys the script, tears it up. And then when I got to see that video, I started to ask myself 1,000 questions. Now, when you listen to Nigerians who have studied abroad, even some of the lecturers who are in charge of the future of this country right now, they themselves, when they went abroad, when they were being taught, right, they probably did not have the kind of relationships that they are having with their students today. Now, it will be foolhardy to insinuate that, once you get to the UK or to the US or to Germany, or you go to Sweden, or you go to Ukraine, like some of our brothers were in Ukraine before the war started, there's no unilateral statement that, once you get there, all the lecturers are nice, they're all caring. But there is a standard that a lot of people claim, attest, that is very prevalent over there that seems to be lacking here. Do we have great lecturers? Yes, I have lived, worked, served under a good number of them during my time in university, some of whom I will probably lay an arm for. But I'll be very careful, which of the arms I'm going to give. But by and large, there are lots of people who look back to their university days in particular, and there is so much disdain, disgust, reprehension towards their lecturers. But over the years, particularly in the past 5 years, there's been some very obvious changes. Obviously, students now feel more comfortable, expressing, exploitation, whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's sex for marks, or whether it is, the very popular, it used to be very popular, I don't know if it's still popular, but the very popular handout scam. If you don't buy my handout, you will not pass. Remember that? That was a thing one time in very many Nigerian universities, even in the private universities. Even in the private universities, it happened as well. So let's look back, and now, in retrospect, looking at with the benefit of hindsight, all right, and now insight, let's see if there is actually an improvement going forward, if you think it's going to be much better. That's our focus this morning. As you dial this number, have it at the back of your mind, particularly for those of you who pass through university and some of you who are lecturers yourself, because this is going to serve, I do hope, as, in quote, a feedback to the job that you are doing right now. So, has there been improvement in the relationship between Nigerian lecturers and students? Do the students still look up to the lecturers as, shoguns, the all and all, the alpha and omega, or as Alfred Oladapo once stated, that education has now moved, into the higher to lower division, into a co-opt form of education where both the teacher and the student are learning simultaneously. The teacher's job is to guide them into new knowledge, not necessarily to dump new knowledge into them. Do you think that's what is happening right now? Let's find out from you. 017-923-0002, 017-923-0003. Phone lines are good, active, willing, and ready to go. Let's get to hear from you.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. At Nigeria Info PH, Facebook and X. For those of you who don't know, the X is Twitter. All right. Okay. Just No, being a friend of yours, I have to tell you. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416. When you get to class, for those of you who have students or who have children who are in third year, fourth year, or even those who are doing their masters or their PhD in Nigeria, do you still look at your lecturers with reverence, or is there a better, in quote, relationship that they have with them today? Zion is speaking to us from GRA. Zion, good morning to you.
Thank you very much. The relationship is not cordial.
It's not, you say?
And to a large extent, a lot of lecturers need psychiatric evaluation before going to the classroom. Because their presence does not even give the students the privilege to learn and assimilate. Underline that word, assimilate. The students, most of them are just there because they want to be there at that material time. If you give them a second option, they will not want to be under the auspices of that lecturer or some lecturers. The United Nations criteria for a lecturer in a classroom, a lot of our lecturers and teachers don't meet up to that standard. They don't. Psychologically, they are poor. Mentally, they are poor. Comprehensively, they are poor. Mention it. I'm not in the same situation where most of these lecturers and teachers, the reason they got there is because there is no job at that material time. And they're just looking for how for do now. Since this school they employ, make I just drop my CV. Since they need teacher, they make I drop. I stand to be corrected. Out of 10 students or people in primary, secondary to university, less than 10, you will see that will tell you that, oh, my lecturer or my teacher is my mentor.
Okay, mentor. That's an interesting term you use, mentor.
But by right, that is the position of the teacher in the life of that student. You are the one teaching me, which means if I fail, if the student fails, it's the lecturer's responsibility. If the students are not doing well, it's the lecturer or students or the teacher's responsibility. In fact, the lecturer should be angry to himself that, oh, my student just failed. My students are not doing well. What is happening, God? Am I not doing my job well? But how many teachers and lecturers have you heard lament in this line? Mention one, says you know. But rather, what consign them? If you like pay school, you know pay school. If you like fail, you know consign them, no pass. So we even threaten we fail today. Two of us. So you see that they are not up to the United Nations standard, that United Nations educational standard. They don't gauge there. So what we have are dangerous people in classroom.
Wow.
That is why I see some people with cane. What is the teacher do with cane on classroom?
So wait. So let's even focus. I have Robin on the line. I guess so. You were saying the lectures. Looking at lectures, you were even saying that they might be dangerous to the students.
Oh, to the mindset, to the intellectualism of the students.
Okay. All right, Zion. Thank you very much. Robin is next here. Robin, good morning to you, please.
Good morning, my brother Jude.
Good morning. Welcome.
Compliments of the season.
Oh, we wish you the same, Robin. We wish you the same.
Thank you very much. You see, when you introduced this topic, I was just smiling. I could not hold it. I chuckled. Because of my experience. You know, I went to school at old age. You know what I mean? I took myself to school. And that was a day I had a very unpleasant experience. I will not mention his name. I will mention his school, but not the name of the lecturer then.
That's fair enough.
University of Port Harcourt.
Okay.
And we were to write exams. And we were directed to do a photo card and submit at the office of our HOD. At that time. I went in there to submit mine. I greeted him, but he spoke to me in a business language. Say, why are you here? I said, I'm here to submit my photo card, sir. They submit that now, get out of my office.
Wow.
I now stopped. I said, sir, my father, late father, was a teacher. He taught me primary one. And I know there's a relationship between the teacher and the thought, which is the student.
Yes.
How dare you speak to me in that manner? As if I'm a stranger to you.
You said this to your HOD.
You are seeing white things on my head. It's not powder. You think I'm happy to come to school at this age? You know, by the time the way I spoke to him, he was ashamed of himself.
Interesting.
He came back, held me, and apologized. What am I saying? One of my brother-in-law who lives in the States told me that in the West, in US, a student can argue with a professor. Can you try that in Nigerian university?
Well, maybe these days.
A professor will listen to you. A student will argue in a class. They will discuss. But here they made themselves lords. You can't talk. But I give God the glory. I never knew I would grow a time where I can sit in a place. I see a doctor, one on the left, one on my right, and we're all friends and brothers everywhere. So the lecturers should tone down and have a good relationship so that they don't snare their image within the student community when they will leave the school. Good morning, Rodney Maja, the farmer.
Thank you very much. Interesting story there. But these are stories from, I'd say, maybe a decade and a half or 2 decades ago. Is that what is obtainable today? I ask this because I've been privileged. If you followed the I Beg to Differ debates a few months ago, I've been privileged to get to see teachers interacting with their pupils, with their students. And maybe that's what's happening also in the university. Because if you remember last week, we had Mrs. Margaret join us in the studio talking about changing the narrative. She teaches students. We'll be back.
Stay with us.
Nigeria Info.
We'll be back.
As the
you decide to get to your lecturer's office. Maybe he's a senior lecturer, maybe he's a doctor, maybe he's one of the professors. You know his office. You decide, let me take a stroll down there and ask him a few questions. Now, you knock at his door and he says, oh, hi, hello, how may I help you? Oh, this is what we're going to do this week. You are giving us this. I'd like to discuss this. Do you have the time to do so, sir? And he says, I have a meeting, but I have 10 minutes. Tell me, what is on your mind? And you go on to express your concern about the situation, or you get to express your view about the topic. Maybe it's even divergent or even different from what he postulated or presented to you in class. Now, does that sound like a Nigerian lecturer? Does it? But it could be, and no, it should be. Now, no, it is not just, because, we are Nigerian, so maybe all things are bad. I don't think so. I lived, like I said, worked under some great lecturers. And the story I just shared with you is from a Nigerian university. It's not from Kensington, neither is it from Colchester, or from Coventry or Hertfordshire or Robert Gordon or any of the Ivy League schools. No, it was here, Uniport. Maybe times have changed. Maybe it's very possible that we have been so used to the anecdotes from 20 years ago that the younger generation now are still expecting the lecturers to act the same way that their older siblings experience. But what if the lecturers have actually changed? What if the lecturers are coming to class these days and dancing swore with the students? Did you get to see the video of the lecturer who bought rice and drinks for his students because he had to teach them on a day they were not meant to be in school? He was empathetic towards their plight. Oh, you're meant to be home resting, but you're here with me. You know what? Somebody go and get everybody a portion of rice. And videos were made. I'm surprised a lot of people cannot remember that. That happened in this country. It didn't happen in 1975 or 1985. It happened, I think it was this year or last year. But, amnesia, we forgot. That's it. Amnesia. Whilst that might not be very common, ladies and gentlemen, it is happening. But the question is, at what scale? Has it gotten to the point where people now feel very comfortable in knowing this person as a lecturer? In my time, and I believe in the time of my older siblings, but that would be my cousins, by the way, we did not like the lecturers to know our names or our faces. May they don't know you. Just only your number. Just the go class. In fact, when they come, bend down if possible. Lie down. May they don't see you at all. Just submit and go. Ladies and gentlemen, a very interesting fellow left the shores of Nigeria, Uniport in particular. He was struggling. He got to the US. Right? He had decent grades here, but, he was struggling, emotionally with things happening at home, what they call home trouble. And when he got to the US, after about 2 months, his lecturer stood up and asked him to stand up in class and said, look, young man, I've seen some of your reports. I've seen the videos you sent us. We've interviewed you. You were a promising child. You were a promising student. Why are you struggling in my class? Is there something that we can do for you? And that day, this is a true story, by the way. And that day, this lecturer of his, right, called a meeting in class, took about 10 minutes in class and said, look, we are all going to chip in to make sure this young man gets to par with where we are right now. He is lagging behind and we cannot afford to leave him. And so his classmates took turns to tutor him. And in the space of about 3 weeks, he not only caught up, understood exactly, I think it was a language type thing, he started to excel in class. And as you would know, when Nigerians put their foot down and say they want to know something, they want to do something, they do it. So, graduated, top of his class, summa cum laude. That happened because of a relationship with a lecturer. What is it right now? How would you gauge it?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
017-923-0002, 0817923-0007. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you'll find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH. My question this morning is this: has there been improvement in the relationship between Nigerian lecturers and students? This is 2023. If you remember when we had the Kiki Modi sex for grades scandal that popped up, was that during the lockdown or 2020, right? If I'm not mistaken, 2019 or 2020, and subsequent stories that came through. The universities have reacted, or rather responded positively. People are now feeling more comfortable reporting, airing lectures. People are now talking about, okay, it's a much safer place. There are still some, some would say maybe recalcitrant lecturers, individuals, but you always find that there is the exception to the norm wherever we go. But by and large, I have not been in the university system in a while. I look forward to going back. But those of you who are in the system right now, those of you who are in your third year, fourth year, fifth year, those of you who have been lecturers for the past 10 years or 2 decades plus, let me ask you, do you think more lecturers are becoming better at lecturing today? Is there a better relationship? Do the students still feel threatened by the presence of their lecturers? Do lecturers still have the Lord and Master aura over them? Are they more approachable? Well, let's find out. 017-923-0002, 017-923-0007. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. Jude, good morning. Says, I beg to be anonymous. Yes, a lot has changed. Some lectures are becoming friendly, but some are everlastingly weird. Some lecturers at the River State University are still weird, especially the ones occupying the exams and records office of mechanical engineering department. All right. He sends a name, but I will not mention the name. All right. So we don't be accused of slander or libel. All right. So Jude, could you believe that this man chases students out of his office just because they want to see their results he did not upload? I pity the current graduates of the department. God help everyone in that department. It is sad. Mechanical Engineering Department, River State University. That's not a good read. And if you by chance know anybody who is at the River State University, or in particular that department, you should probably send them a message and ask them to tune into the radio set right now. I'm not asking people to call into name or shame, but the question we're asking right now, is there a healthier relationship between lecturers and students? This particular responder doesn't think so. He says, yes, a lot has changed, but this department in particular, there is somebody there that is not doing very well. Now, this is not to say that, hey, they might not be a pinch of salt to the story. Students have been known to, over-exaggerate or maybe even under-report their own part, their own bit in a particular scenario. Granted, that happens. However, when stories like this come, you have to ask yourself, but what's the bigger picture? If there really were better relationships, would people complain? Would students complain? All right, Anonymous here says, in Nigeria, people like to afflict you. Wow, strong words. Yet determine how you should react. When you respond the way your power reach, they will cry that you have overreacted. A lot of individuals passing for lecturers in Nigerian universities are bitter witches and wizards, threatened by students' potential, frustrated principalities and powers on a power trip. How can someone write an exam or do an assignment from their own sweat and you tear their paper? That you are who or what? If the students react how you do their body, you will say they are violent. I didn't do university in Nigeria, and I'm very glad because I wouldn't have graduated. Some years ago, I was looking through someone's master's dissertation because she was stuck. As soon as I read it, I saw why. She was afraid to make an argument. So she was writing what she thought her supervisor wanted. The university for her master's is in the UK, but she did her undergrad in Nigeria. So she still had the "my supervisor will persecute me" mindset inflicted on many Nigerian graduates. I told her, UK lecturers don't do that. You might even be teaching them something new with the result of your research. As long as you present your argument in a sensible way, they will not penalize you, even if your position is different from their own view. Write it like this. She did what I said and made a distinction. Now that's a good story. That's, in fact, that's a very good story. It is good to sometimes hold someone by the hand and say, walk this way. Walk this way. This path is going to be better. Let go of your inhibition. Dear doctors, dear senior lecturers, dear consultants, yes, let me not forget, because there's also the godlike mentality in medical school. Dear consultants, you are part of this conversation. Do you think you are a better teacher than your teacher who taught you? Do you think your students, those who are in 500 level, 600 level, those who are doing their first year as house officers, do you think they have a good relationship with you, their superior? There's a term they use in medical school in Nigeria. I don't know if they still use it. My chief, ahead of them, not just, because you graduated earlier, but, if you have, gotten your West African thingy, you're basically about to become a consultant, or you are now a consultant and you've gotten other certifications. They refer to you as my chief. My chief. Everybody's cowering. Everybody's deferring to you. My chief. Yes, it's good. Respect is impressive. It's good. It promotes a healthier structure in medical school, in the hospitals and whatnot. But do they have a good relationship with you? Are you the type of doctor that other doctors can come to with their personal problems and also their professional problems? Or are you the one that says, get out of here, go and bring me this? You don't know anything. You want to kill these patients. Anyway, moving on. All right, good morning, Jude. All right, first, I think the relationship between lecturers and students hasn't improved, though a lot has changed. But most of our lecturers, or should I say educators, are without empathy. Even if you are doing your job of teaching, empathy as a human being is important. Like the story you get the lecturer who showed empathy to that guy, and look what he came out to be. Oh, yes. At the end of 2 years, top of his class with distinction. Absolutely amazing. Our Nigerian educators are without empathy because education in Nigeria is full of teachers who are only close to the smart ones, and the ones that actually need the education are left out. Most students that are coming out great in schools is not even because they're lecturer or teacher, it's because they teach themselves or they get help from fellow students. Good morning, Jude. Isaac here. I don't think the relationship between teachers and students has improved much. What we now know is that the teachers are becoming more cautious, particularly the male teachers as they deal with female students, because they now know that they can be recorded and their conversations can be monitored. But I do not see them as friends. I have to be very honest. They still walk around as though they own the world and they control my destiny. It's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to leaving this school. I won't mention the name of the school right now. Don't want to paint any school in bad light, right? But here we are. He's looking forward to leaving the school. Why? For the life of me, I still don't. Yeah, I've been out of the system for years, but I still don't get it. How did these lecturers get to this point? How did the Nigerian lecturer get to the point where he's not just revered, but he's now feared? He's now despised. I may be wrong for saying this. Please bear with me as I go back to the phone lines, please. Right? The phone numbers once again 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007. All right? 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007. Please, I might be wrong, right? Forgive me, not trying to, as it were, put anybody's career, under the rubble as it is, but if you're a lecturer in University of Port Harcourt, RSU, Ignatius Ajuru, Nekede, what's the other one? The Kensarua Polytechnic, the capital Elechi, right? Polytechnic, which other one? Futo, all right? IMSU, NDU, not too far from where we are. NDU, and Otueke. All right? Any of these Niger Delta universities, if you are in any of these universities and your students are scared of you, see, there's a difference between respect and being afraid of. A lot of the times when people are afraid of you, they treat you with disdain. Yes, they may defer to you, but they are not happy in your presence. I think if you fall into that category as a lecturer whose students do not want to be around them, you might just be in the same category as the policeman on the street who's extorting 100 naira from taxi drivers. I could be wrong, right? And that's why when we have conversations, it's not just a monologue. I like to get to hear from you. I could be wrong. WhatsApp 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416. Jude, people that shout at or demean others for not knowing certain things are either ignorant or wicked. A couple of years ago, I was training someone to do her podcast and she kept apologizing to me that she don't know certain things. I stopped her and asked, have you done this before? Did you study it in school? She said, no. I said, so why are you apologizing that you don't know something you have no reason to know? She said she's used to people making her feel stupid. Oh dear. When she asked questions, and I told her, you are not stupid. You just don't know something you have had no reason to know. Does this sound familiar? Emmanuel, speaking to us from NTA Road. Emmanuel, good morning to you, please.
Good morning, Mr. G.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Very well. Thank you for joining us, please.
You see, there's one thing you need to understand about these lecturers. Like where I went to school in River State here. See, the way we learned from them or the way they tutored us and everything made most of us to have this hatred for them. If I should see my lecturer on the way, I don't mind crushing him down.
No violent statements. Yes, please. We have to be careful.
No violence, I understand. But I'm just trying to make a point. You see, the rate of sorting in where I graduated from, River State University of Science and Technology, Office and Information Management, as you mentioned, they were so mean during my time. It was terrible. Write whatever you know, read the textbook upside down. If you don't give them that money, they will not pass you. So we ended up schooling, working, most persons, just to meet up. Just to see that, they graduate and go outside, look for a job and start their lives. I think we see happening now. If you should conduct a survey and go there and meet the students, they will tell you the same thing. Most of the lecturers there might be listening to me, or some students might be listening to me. They'll say, this guy is saying the truth. So tell me, such person that graduated, what perception would the person have towards the lecturer?
But Emmanuel, maybe that's your time. Let me assume you probably graduated maybe 5 years or 10 years ago, right?
Yes.
Okay, so but a lot has changed. We're hearing that things have changed. Now, I don't know if you have younger siblings in the institution.
I have a friend brother that just graduated from that department.
Yes.
So many lecturers are still there. Like I can mention 4 lecturers that are still there. He told me that it's even worse. I asked him, okay, how much did they take for something? And he told me, I said, wow, how do they expect people to survive?
How much?
And you see him reading.
How much?
Just to pass the exam. For A, they will tell him to bring 20,000-30,000. How will such person do?
20,000 naira.
Bros, go to that department and confirm. Do your survey. Go there and confirm. The River State University is not far now. Office and Information Management, OIM. Very terrible. So how do you expect us to look at that person?
Manu, thank you very much for sharing with us this morning. Like we stated when we started, this is meant to be a mirror for the students and indeed for the lecturers right now. As a lecturer, what do you think the students think of you? As a student, do you think the relationship you have with your lecturer is proper? Are you comfortable? Has it improved? Do you feel that this man or this woman is the kind of person that you will want to spend time with, that can pass information across to you? Wisdom for the ages, they say. It's very worrisome because whether we like it or not, right? Some of the senators, some of the House of Rep members and the whatnot in the next 5 or 10 years would have passed through some of these lecturers. And some of the current men and women who are in the River State Government House or at the Federal Secretariat all over this country must have gone through one university lecturer or the other. What does that relationship feel like? In fact, now that I'm talking about it, maybe this is one of the reasons why, the federal government and all the educational groups are having issues all over the years. Maybe they're angry, right? Maybe they're just vexed. Lecturers have not been doing right by them. They're just vexed. Lady V says, a lecturer failed me because I refused to follow him to only God knows where. This is a man I respected so much. We were close. I cried when I saw my result. I even went to see him with his friend, but he walked me out of his office. Some lecturers do not have friendly minds. This is sad to read. Very sad. As we wrap up, I'm left yet again with the same question. Has the relationship improved? And from this foray, I really don't know.